Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a very special guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your secret identity to the masses?
Hello, masses. My name is Caitlin French. Most of you have started hearing my name as a newbie voice actor running around with Sentai, and I have the honor of being interviewed today here with the fan.
Oh, well, thank you for mentioning us as one of your accomplishments because that usually doesn't happen.
I could start listing the resume, but I'm kind of like, it's one of those awkwards of, oh goodness, I sound very self-conceited. I don't like lists like that.
Well, one of the interesting things when I was, looking up your credits and things like that is I kept finding that you were a teacher, and I just have to ask, how does a teacher get into acting? Because you're not teaching theater, so
Oh. Um, how this started out, well, interesting enough, I've always liked kids. My major is theater, and I have been doing theater, dance, gymnastics since I was, I don't know, like four. I When I was crawling, I was doing it. And as I got older, I ended up doing a lot of workshops for my dance teacher. Whenever we'd have camps, as you became the older girls, you started teaching. When I went to college. We would have theater camps at the high school, and I was part of the improv troupe. So we do the improv classes there. And one of my independent studies was psychological development through and therapy through gaming and playing and using it as an education factor to help and soothe. And I've always loved kids. They're sweet, they're innocent, they're not jaded about the world. And honestly, whenever you go into the environment, they're there to show you what they want. They love you, they want to hug on you. Sure, you get their germs half the time, but they really are sweet. And heck, I get to talk about Batman and Spider-Man with them half the time anyway, so it's really awesome. Funny enough, I kind of stumbled into the job coming down here. I had started working in a costume shop, and after Halloween and deciding I was never working a 70-hour week again, I started looking for our turn. Fur. See, I'm from Kansas, so we kind of get those little slangs in there. Fur being one of them. Uh, but I started looking for another position, and I ended up getting a job at a preschool and working as an aftercare teacher, and then I became an assistant in a classroom, and then I start doing the lesson plans for the aftercare program now. So I'm head of the aftercare program there at the preschool I work at.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask you for some tips, I think, due to the fact that I'm not very good with kids, and my brother has three of them.
Oh my goodness. Well, first off, figure out what they like and find that way to appeal to them. Are they creative? Are they sportsy? Do they like Legos, comic books, general stuff? Depending on their age range, it's going to depend what kind of personality traits are developing at the time. Like when they're little, you get the itty bitty ones. They're sweet. They're still in the diapers. They're still pretty dependent. About two, changing into three, you kind of get the terrible twos because they're learning their identity and how to say no, that they don't have to be dependent, they can be obstinate. At three, they're getting over that phase and they're starting to kind of develop their personality a lot more, run around, express themselves. You can tell I've been working with them all day today. Today they have been very crazy due to the weather. You beg for it to be a nice day to go outside, or you're stuck inside with all of them, and that's no fun. That is
Well,
that is a trash classroom.
there's a 3-year-old named Jaylee. There's a
Uh,
7-year-old named Jenna. We call her Chug because when she was, or they called her Chug, and it's just carried with her because when she was born, she had a Buddha belly. And then there's the
oh,
10-year-old called Jasmine. All
oh,
Jays in this family.
oh.
So Jasmine always wants to hang out with me, probably because I'm not considered an adult by any of them, despite being 22. Uh,
Yeah,
so Jasmine always wants to hang out with me, and it's very difficult when you're trying to record something and she's like right there, like standing on the mic, and I'm like, Jasmine, you need to not be here.
yeah. And at 10, they're starting to get into that idea of, oh, we're going to be preteens soon. Oh my gosh, I got to start getting into that preteen mode. They're kind of launching into that. They cling definitely to idols at that point. You'll see about 10 years old, you're going to start getting the kids who are clinging to their flavors of the week, as I like to call them, like Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus, all of them. They cling to those idols that they want to be like, or someone they can follow and see what they're doing, because they're still figuring out, oh, what are my options in life? Right now, they're not thinking that far ahead, but they're fascinated by every possible option. Unfortunately, sometimes it becomes a little annoying for the person on the other end of it. uh, Best way to probably deal with that is finding a way to include them, but do it in a way that they're out of the way. Pretty much telling them, hey, I need you to do this job. Can you do this? But have it be like a mundane task.
Go do this repetitive thing for me. Thank you.
Pretty much. And whether they like it or not, well, if they like it, hey, you got something done. If they don't like it, well, they'll probably get bored and leave. So either way, you're pretty good there.
I will have to take that advice to heart, but I'm assuming that working with kids is actually really helpful in the booth acting as a character because anime can be fairly kind of sometimes cheesy and fairly dramatic.
It definitely can be. I actually have the luck of playing a lot of monotone, kind of stoic characters, so it's kind of funny because I have to restrain myself a lot from showing a lot of emotion when I'm in the booth, especially with, oh gosh. Well, everyone knows I was cast as Matsurika recently, and she's she says some pretty snarky things, but says it in the most flat tone ever. But it definitely leaves you a lot more animated and a lot more open without feeling hindered. A lot of people, one of the things that I've noticed that a lot of people going into acting, once they get onto the stage, once they get into that environment, is they want to act. They don't generally have the desire, but when people are watching them, they become self-conscious of what people are thinking, so they hold back their actions. They hold back what they're doing when, in all honesty, you need to be out there giving it 110%. And if the director says, hey, pull back, then pull back. It's always good to give too much than too little.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to, for example, for any commercials, do someone who's completely monotone. I've only gotten to do people who are easily like upset at something or maybe they're a smart aleck or something along those lines. But I have to think that doing the monotone stuff must actually be a little bit difficult if you're very cheery or emotional.
It is. It's also really hard because in the booth, when you do monotone, it's hard feeling like you're doing enough for the person. Uh, every time I've been in there and I've had to do someone who's fairly monotone, it's like, oh my God, am I doing enough? Am I giving enough? And you'll see it sometimes. I'm that masochist who reads their own reviews at times that people are like, well, was she supposed to be that monotone? It kind of just sounds flat. I'm like, that's kind of the point. That was the point of it. But it's definitely kind of harder playing those sort of characters because you're never sure if you're giving enough and what direction to go with it sometimes.
Well, in your experience, and I know this is always kind of a trick question because I know all roles are like your children, but
Oh gosh.
is there like a type of character that you enjoy playing more than others currently?
Uh, well, the ones I get cast as, again, uh, I get a lot of the more monotone, sweet girls, but I love it when I get to have an edge. Matsurika was probably one of my funnest parts because it was me getting to say things that I don't normally get to say in the booth. Um, but I also love having a lot of range. When I played May in Say I Love You, I got to experience the most full range of emotions because, again, she's a lead character. When you're playing a smaller side character, you get to show at least two or three, get to show two dimensions of it, sometimes three, but not all the time are you going to go through the whole range of happiness, sadness, development. May really, she was gripping because I got to feel everything she was feeling. I cried, I laughed, I grew with her. But I have a guilty pleasure for loving to play completely terrible people. But that's just because I never get to be that.
Well, I recently watched Say I Love You on Crunchyroll, so I haven't gotten to see obviously the dub. I don't even think it's out yet.
The dub
How?
actually came out December 24th. It came
Oh,
out
okay.
right before Christmas.
All right, my bad.
Oh,
Uh,
it's
I
fine.
I will say though that I saw the teaser trailer for it. Uh, Mai was an interesting character because from a Western audience standpoint, and this is just a personal opinion, I feel like she's kind of hard to relate to because if you evaluate like Japanese society and the way that students work in school and the way that they're either part of the group or they're total outcasts due to bullying, I almost feel like it was kind of hard for me personally to relate with her because my school experience was so much different and it just felt like a cultural difference.
Um, May was interesting to pick up with her. I actually related a lot to May in high school. Like I had the bullying situations when I was younger, but I also had, and I know everybody had that instance where some sort of drama kind of just made you cut everybody off, cut ties, because it's easier not to have friends and avoid getting hurt and entertain yourself and escape other ways. May never really had the other escape like I did. I had the internet, I had online friends, which people didn't always consider real friends. But she felt she didn't need it. She was very closed off. And I think in Japan's culture right now, especially nowadays, you're seeing a lot of that become very prevalent in society with them. They have, right now, they're actually having population issues because the women are so determined to go after business because you're either chasing your career or you're a mom. And people are choosing careers over being family people. And it's becoming part of the society to be very isolated from one another. In May, I think, is someone who hit that stage because she was hurt when she was younger, who was just isolated. But I think she's relatable later on as you go through and she rediscovers finding friends and knowing how that feels to have people around you who cares, having those good moments, forming those memories that you look back on and smile about because you have that solid core group of friends, whether they be online or they be friends in real life, friends on an MMO, whether it's you're remembering a bonfire that happened or remembering a night you raided an Ion together, giggling over Skype. It's those sort of memories she learned to appreciate and that she needed. And it was breaking that isolated nature of hers that kind of, I think, made it relatable, bringing the antisocial girl out of her shell. I thought it was really sweet.
I definitely liked the very last episode. That was my
Oh
favorite, and
my
I
gosh.
think the other episode that I enjoyed quite a bit and started to enjoy May's character was when I can't remember the character's name, but when she started getting along with the male character's sister.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I love her. Oh my gosh, she's voiced by Brittany, so it's hysterical also because Brittany has this adorable voice the entire time. Oh my gosh, what is her name? Ah, I have slept since then. I have voiced things since then. But yes, oh my gosh, his sister, the lead guy's sister. Oh my gosh, she's adorable.
I think
And
it's maybe Izumi. No,
do.
no,
We
that's.
have the internet for this. This is what the internet is for. And I am Googling now.
But I did like that episode where they bonded because I finally felt like she was making relationships that weren't destructive because there was so many things that were getting and like trying to get in the way of
Yeah.
the two main characters' relationship that I always kind of cringed whenever I saw something forming that might have actually done more harm than good.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of friendships in there that are that you kind of question for a little bit, but I think in the end they turn out for the better. Uh, Asamichi is probably one of my favorite characters because she becomes so she grabs onto May and tries to pull May out almost instantly without knowing her interest in Yamato. She just accepts her. And I think that kind of floors May for a little bit. But I love Nagi. Her name's Nagi, by the way.
Okay.
just just found it. I love Nagi because she's adorable, but she can be a brat too. I think when they go to the that one ah pretty much the Disneyland of that area. They
It's
go
yeah, it's the theme park.
Yeah, they go to the
And she
theme
gets
park.
jealous.
She gets not just she gets jealous. She makes her other brother drag her there, and then it's like, okay, you can leave. What? Brat! Oh my gosh! But I like Nagi because Nagi has a lot of traits that May has. She went through something. She suffered that, and I think that May seeing Nagi, it's a good moment for her to identify and see from the other side of what she's being like, and seeing someone else who's going through the struggle and realizing she's not the only one who's ever felt that before. And I think that's a great moment of character growth for both of them.
I can agree with that. And for the listeners out there who haven't checked out the show, you can do so. I believe it's still on Crunchyroll, and you can buy it. So apologies for the misinformation on that. We're going to take a short break here, though, on 91.8 The Fan. So keep it tuned to your favorite station, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't. Hey, everybody out there! You're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan, and my special guest is still here, alive and breathing.
Somehow.
Yay! Wait, don't say that. They'll think that I hurt you.
Oh no, it's fine. I've had a crazy week. That's more than anything. I am not under duress. There's no gun to my head. I am okay.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll just keep that on record, just in case, we need to talk to the cops. It's fine.
There it is, right there.
But for the fans out there that want to keep up to date on what you're in, are there any projects that you want to pimp out to them?
Let's see. Well, in March, unfortunately, due to actually, I really don't know the reasons why, but I think it's probably to release the first season closer to the second season. Maria Holic, everybody, Maria Holic and Maria Holic Live is coming out in March. And for those who have been waiting for Little Busters, Disc 2, that's coming soon too, where I am the voice of Mio and Midori. Probably one of my favorite characters ever. Episode 13 is going to rip your heart out. I absolutely bawled in the studio. Apparently, so did Shannon Emmerich during our big episode. So go in knowing that both of us broke down 2 tears and had to be hugged by Christopher Ayres once we got out because we couldn't stop crying. Right now, those are the 2 on the horizon that I can talk about at this point. A lot of season 2s I've been doing, so keep a lookout for that at this point. I finished up back in December. What was it? Along with Maria Holic. The Girls in Panzer OVA DVDs, I believe, are just now coming out. So I voice Hana Isuzu there, so you can find me there. Those are the projects that I got pimping out right now. Otherwise, I haunt Facebook and Twitter both. I'm kind of a noob at Twitter, so forgive me that I don't post a whole lot. I only really actively post when I have news updates, I randomly feel like it, or it's Monday Night Raw because I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I really get into my tweeting and getting angry about things happening on Monday Night Raw. By the way.
See, I do angry tweeting, but it's for things like Project Runway, not like wrestling.
Oh my gosh, I am a huge wrestling fan. WWE, TNA, they both have my heart. I can go on for hours about that. But yeah,
I
you can
remember Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Attitude Era was the era I was raised in, everybody. Stone Cold. My boyfriend's a Goldberg person, which tells you he watched WCW and he watched the wrong side. I watched WWE, Raw is War. Steve Austin was my guy, so this is where our house is divided at this point, by the way.
That and the PlayStation 3 and the PC thing.
At least it's not a PC versus Xbox thing. We're not having that. We're not having that. I just have Mr. PC Master Race over there judging me half the time, despite he owns a PS3 because we can't play Operation Raccoon City with one PS3, which is kind of dumb, honestly. But, gaming nowadays. But, yes. But, yeah, you can find me on my Twitter at Caitlynn French V. Pretty simple. CAITLYNN FRENCH V. That can stand for 5. That can stand for V for voice. It can stand for V for Sailor Venus. V for victory. It's just a V because I felt like having a V.
Yeah, you're a Mooney too. I love it.
Oh yeah, we just totally. Justin and I like to sit and marathon animes, and recently we went back and said, you know what? Let's try the Sailor Moon dubs. I got to the point where Rainy came in or Chibiusa, and I was done. I'm sorry.
Aw.
I like her, but it's that point where going through it and marathoning it after 2 weeks, and you realize the same plot thing happens again of, oh, hey, Derry and Serena can't be together. Guess what? We're going to rip them apart again. So Derry's going to be a jerk this entire time because he's having premonitions, obviously, of something bad happening to her. And his first inclination is, no, I shouldn't be with you. What? No!
Well,
No!
to be fair, I like the very first season. My least favorite season is R, which I believe is where Rainy is introduced. But
The first half of R I like, though the Moonlight Night's all weird. Yeah, I'm in R right now, and
well, the first half is all filler with Anne and Alan. That was made because they were trying to catch up to the manga at the time.
yeah, well, and part of me is like, they still don't explain that race because in Sailor Moon R, the movie, Fiore is the same race, and you're like, wait, what? What? What's going on here? But yeah, no, it was all filler because everybody lost their memories and they were having to get them back, and I'm like, oh, kind of stinks. We got to go through all of this, and they all get the cool new moves that they use like once and never bring back.
I really like the dub because I grew on it. Like a lot of people just detest it, and that's fine.
I
But
love it. Oh my gosh, that and Ronin Warriors were my first animes, and I'll tell you, I'm a fangirl. I grew up a fan of anime. DBZ, I can tell you, I was in 6th grade and I had binders full of Piccolo and Trunks because they were my men at the time.
I don't know. When I was like 9, I was kind of like, why did they keep fighting over and over again? Like, when is Sailor Moon coming on? That was my experience with Dragon Ball when I was a kid. Though I like Dragon Ball better than Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. So.
I started with Dragon Ball Z and then kind of got went through all that. Then Tenchi Muyo came out, and anime became onto Toonami, and then everyone started knowing about anime, and it was super awesome. Despite now, it's so much more. There's so much more happening. I grew up in Wichita, Kansas. We didn't really have anime conventions when I was growing up, and now there's 2 or 3 conventions. I got to actually be at Encounters. I think they're 3rd year now. I got to be a guest at Encounters in my own hometown, and it was super awesome. Though everyone was totally there to meet, oh my gosh. I am so blanking on his name. And he writes Harry Dresden, the Dresden Files. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I just blanked on his name. Everyone was there to see him, though. But I got to see a lot of my friends, and they're like, wait, what are you doing behind the booth? I'm like, that's right. Kick back, relax. Pretend I'm something. And I got to meet Jamie Markey there, which was super awesome. I totally sidetracked all of this. I have another page. I do that sometimes. If you just let me go, I talk.
That is chill. We love it when you go off.
Yeah.
But for anybody out there who wants to see you at an event, you said to us behind the scenes you don't have any coming up, but if you do, you'll update us on Facebook and Twitter, correct?
I will update you. I'm also looking for events, guys. I'm not sure. I don't really have an open email out there. Feel free to message me on my Facebook page. Caitlynn French, spelled the same way, voice actor. I'm pretty easy to find. On those pages, you can actually send me messages. I'm the person who admins it. I actually take questions from anybody. Honestly, I'm open to talking to fans. I prefer people not always add my main page as much as I want to add everybody. For personal reasons, I have to kind of be a little limited on who I add. So definitely come to my fan page, and if you send me messages, I will reply to them. I'm totally cool with just having a chat. But yeah, definitely looking for events also. So hopefully coming soon, you might see me somewhere around, but I may need a little more notoriety besides. I'm only out there 2 or 3, not even, I'm hitting 2 years now. I'm not that old, right?
Well, we'll just have to see. You know, you might get into the con circuit and go to like as many conventions as Kyle does.
Oh my goodness.
Or Todd.
I used to go around with Airship Isabella for a while in the steampunk thing, and that's honestly how I met Chris and ended up we first started sharing a love of theater and improv, and that's how we started talking. And then he pulled me up one day and had me do improv with him and Michael Sinterklaas. I about died. I I'm not sure how I got through that, but apparently he liked it enough. He's like, you know what? Uh, he never told me this, but he told me later on that that day he decided he was pulling me in the studio for one day. So in a year and a half later, I had moved down there, gotten a job. He's like, so you want to come to the studio? And I'm like, yes. It's like, oh, cool. I didn't know you were interested. I was like, yeah, because I'm not gonna be that guy.
Well, for the fans out there, they're really excited because at the end of the interview, we ask everyone if they'd be willing to do a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Okay, what's that?
Basically, we ask if you'd be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Okay.
We ask if you could say, hello, my name is, you insert your name. I do this. You can insert characters. I'm a voice actress, whatever you want to put there. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Listen to me type that up because I have to remember that. And then pull up my site to remember who all I play.
You're not the only one, don't worry.
Oh my gosh. Well, sometimes you think it's like, oh hey, I can think of off the top of my head, but it's like playing one of those knowledge games where it's like, okay, name 5 of the hobbits. And it's like, oh, nope, I blanked. I blanked
Elijah
on
Wood?
everything.
Is that the answer?
Uh, cried. Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
I understand.
All right.
So whenever you're ready.
All right. Let me get all nice and set up here as people listen to me getting my little word pad up. I'm real fancy here with my word pad. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Caitlynn French, and I am a voice actor or actress, so we prefer voice actor. And mind you, despite I'm a little crazy, I'm known as Suzuko Kanzaki from AKB0048. I am Chiaki Kurahara from Bodacious Space Pirates, Hana Azuzu representing Girls in Panzer, Mio and Midori from Little Busters, Matsurika Shinoji from Maria Holic, and Mei from Tachibana from Say I Love You, and Kaguya from Shining Hearts. And this is 91. Oh my god, I messed it up on the last one. Cried.
It's okay. Let's do a pickup. How about that?
We will do a pickup. Where do you want to pick that up at? This is what happens at the studio a lot.
So just at the very end, after you said all of your characters, just this is 91.8 The Fan, or wherever you were going with that.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and this is 91.8 The Fan, and you better be staying tuned because this is for you.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
No problem. I kind of ran out of air there and then blanked. It happens. Like, all the time. All the time in the studio, I'll be going and suddenly dyslexia will kick in or something. I'm like, oh, I switched those words. Oops.
Well, is there anything else you want to tell the listeners out there? Any words of wisdom, dating advice, predictions for the end of the world?
Well, there's something about the Viking end of the world coming up or some festival in Europe. That's kind of interesting. If so, start praying to Odin now. I don't know if it's too late at that point. I don't know how Norse mythology works entirely. I got the stories, but I'm not sure on the repentance aspect of that. So I don't know. It's just always good to be prepared. I have an umbrella sword in a trash can by my door next to my axe. So just always be ready in case. Also, viewers, stay tuned, listen up. I'm sure they're going to have a lot more voice acting guests coming up who are awesome to talk to. If you guys, again, drop me a line if you want to chat. I am all about tabletop, role-playing, MMORPGs. I do like raiding on Ion. I am slightly addicted, and I do have my own Legion, by the way. It's strictly RP, however, so we got some standards about that. And I am all about the gaming also. I am open to chat, and it was awesome to be on here, guys. I love it.
Well, we're glad to have you on.
Me.
Thank you so much for being here and for being an awesome guest. And for any of the listeners out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days, so keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.